Hello, today I want to show you one of the most exciting features we have with eLumen, and that's integration into your D2L course shell. I'm going to start with my training D2L sandbox course shell because of FERPA reasons we want to show our training students rather than actual students. So to start with the D2L integration, we first have to go to eLumen. We are assuming that your department coordinator has already planned your assessment for you, and so it's set up and ready for you to start assessing. The first thing we need to do, though, is go into eLumen because we will probably have to add an activity. If a signature assignment has been included by your department coordinator, they may have already added the activity, but just in case, we need to add the activity ourselves so that it will show up in eLumen and we can link to this assessment. So we'll go to the section that I'm looking for. This is Sandbox for D2L integration. We're going to have to click Add Activity so that we can link to this assessment in D2L. Otherwise, it won't show up in D2L. So we'll click on Add Activity, and you'll see the two fields that you're required to fill out are title and description. Now, these are something that should be meaningful to you, but for this purpose, I am just going to use the words title and description. But it should describe that the assessment that you are going to be doing. So we click Save. And now we're ready to go into D2L and integrate eLumen into it. First thing we need to do is go to the class in D2L that you want to assess with eLumen. For this test, it's just using the eLumen Sandbox course, but it would be your actual course name and number that you will be teaching. So we will click on Content because we're going to add an eLumen module into D2L. So on the left side, you will see an Add a Module field. We click on that and we add a module. You can call it eLumen, eLumen Assessment. It's your choice. But you type it, you hit Enter. The module itself is created, and you'll see it's titled eLumen, and it is now listed in the contents. Okay, the next thing you need to do is click on Existing Activities, just left click, and it gives you this drop-down box, and we're going to select External Learning Tools because that's what eLumen is. Then we select eLumen, and it's there. The next thing we want to do is set up the assessment item in the gradebook. So we don't have any grades set up at all. We will manage grades. And we're going to create a new item. In this case, it'll be numeric by point values. Let's just call this communication assignment. Scroll down, we'll say 10 points, we'll just leave that there. We will save and close. Okay, now we have created the grade item for communication assignment. Next, we need to link this assessment to the eLumen module. So we'll click on the eLumen module. Now you see that we have a list of assessments for different courses that have been planned for us in eLumen, but we want the one specifically for this course. So we're going to select the Sandbox for D2L eLumen integration that I've already created. We want to click Link this assessment. The activity title will be linked to this assignment and cannot be modified. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes, we do, so we will click Save and Go. Next will be a list of possible grade items in the gradebook that we can select for this assessment. In this case, the only one that we've created, the communication assignment, is there. We want to go to Rubric, and here we go. We have the first student, and we can click the rubric in here to see how well they have done with the communication assessment. Now, let's just put them at the lower end here. Now, there are a couple of different ways you can maneuver in here. You can send scores to the LMS, which means the Learning Management System, or D2L. The current score is 0. Recommended score is 6. Let's send a 6 to the assessment. All right, now that 6 has been recorded in the gradebook. Two different ways you can maneuver between your students here. If we scroll back up to the top, you'll see on the list of students there's a drop-down arrow, and you can select the students individually. or you can click the Next Student button. Scrolling back up, you can see it selected the next student, and we are free to move on. So let's assess a student, but let's not send the score to the learning management system. So when you've selected the correct boxes that you want in your rubric, you can then just click on Next Student, and it will not send the scores to the gradebook. If the student is not assessed, you can select the Not Assessed box and click on Next Student. Here we can click on the grade book. Bruce Banner got a 6 out of 10, which is what we sent to the learning management system. We assessed Jessica Jones in the eLumen assessment rubric, but we did not send her score to the learning management system, so you can see that there is no score recorded here. You will see that if we click on eLumen and we can see the scorecards here, Bruce Banner is reflected in eLumen. Jessica Jones is reflected in eLumen. Matt Murdoch was not assessed, and that is reflected in eLumen. So this integration between Desire to Learn and eLumen is pretty tight, and this is an exciting development. The nice thing is you can assess your students within the D2L course shell itself and don't even have to log into eLumen through the eLumen app other than to add an activity if that had not been set up prior to this. If you have any questions, please contact your Director of Assessment, your Assessment of Student Learning Committee Chair, or your division leads, and they will be happy to provide further assistance.